Okay, Survivor fans, we just watched episode 3 of San Juan del Sur. John Rocker was voted out of tribal council with an idol in his pocket. But Rob, you want to kind of talk about Rob? No, sorry, Rob, you want to talk about John Rocker as a person, right? Because you think he kind of was treated unfairly in the show.
Yeah, I think he was. And before Survivor started a few weeks ago, we were really kind of ramping up his role in the show as the villain, and I get that because of the history, and he's a bigot and a racist, and he was saying horrible things about homosexuals and whatever, and that played out quite nicely in the first 2 episodes, and he was becoming that villain that we thought on the horizon would be someone that we could love to hate. But I just thought episode 3, the vitriol about the guy was a bit much for me, and I just felt like enough is enough. He made some mistakes, and we and the rest of the people watching and all the other contestants were just really laying it on him. And I just thought that kind of treatment was so unnecessary. He wasn't that bad on the show, and shouldn't we just be judging the guy for what he was doing on the show? And Natalie was screaming at him and saying horrible things about him, and his girlfriend Barbie, she was crying, and I just felt that it made me feel very, very uncomfortable. And although he said stupid teeth out, and he came across really arrogant at tribal council. I'm not saying he's an angel. Sometimes reality TV shows do they make us, well, we forget that we're watching human beings. They're not just characters. And this poor guy now had not only does he have all the history, but now he has this against his name as well. People, are never going to think anything good about him for a long time, and that's really, really disappointing.
Yeah, I have a feeling when he signed up for the show, part of the reason was because he wanted to be redeemed and seen in a better light. That didn't happen. I mean, people that maybe forgot about the controversy are remembering it now, and they saw him on TV as being the person that they've known, that person that made these comments in the article. He wasn't redeemed at all. He almost looks worse than he did beforehand. Matt, how do you feel about John Rocker?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to see what happened with the big blow up at the immunity challenge. And here's the problem: he's a guy that doesn't have much of a filter, it seems. So when Natalie starts confronting him, he just gets all worked up again. Like if he just sat there and shrugged his shoulders and thought, "Look, I thought I'd gotten past this part of my life, and it's a shame that people keep on having to bring this up 10 years later," then that would have been one thing. But he just loses it and threatens to knock her teeth out and stuff, and probably just plays in this narrative that he's a bit of a chauvinist and stuff like that. But I do agree, he didn't do anything too appalling on the show other than get a little worked up at the challenges. But boy, he was not a very good Survivor player for mine. Right. To say in front of his whole tribe that he'd been working with Jeremy, and that Jeremy, and to say that, look, I would try to do what I could, but these guys, they just had to vote for your wife, it was just, I think that's what cost him the game. But it also is, I will add, interesting that this is a season where we've seen perhaps more than any other, maybe especially more than an all-star, maybe all-star seasons this has been the case, but people's past decisions in life, ghosts of people's past coming to haunt them on Survivor, with John Rocker and with Nadia getting voted out for U-turning people on The Amazing Race. So, it's sort of interesting that Natalie's bringing John Rocker's past up when it was Nadia's past that got her voted out of the show 2 weeks earlier.
Great point. Yeah, John Rocker, he didn't really have that self-awareness that we talked about last week, that a winner needs to be self-aware and see how other people, are talking about you when you're not around. He just seemed to lack that quality.
Yes.
And so, okay, let's talk about the Exile Island moment for a while, when it was Keith and Josh that were sent there, two of the most unlikeliest people on the season.
I love that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Keith was great with his you don't get too many guys like him in Louisiana. Like,
I just wanted to hear your American accent, Matt.
yeah,
It's very good. It's really, really smart.
like,
But
hopefully keeps him for a while.
yeah, I hope so. I was when he said that, I laughed out loud, and I also thought, there's probably a lot of those kinds of people in Louisiana. You just don't mix with those kinds of circles. But
Yeah, Keith's going to the wrong
you know,
bars in Louisiana.
He's going to the wrong bars. I'm sure there's plenty of gay guys in Louisiana. But the strange bedfellows of gay guy number one and Cletus at Exile Island. Kind of not spooning, but still sleeping in the same quarters on rocks. I thought that was gold, and I hope we see more of that. I mean, you know what though? Like, putting all the comedy aside, I just call him gay guy number one, and because I've just forgotten his name. But if someone can remind me, Josh Canfield. Josh, he said something really, really poignant, typically from Josh, because everything that comes out of his mouth is usually really smart and poignant. He said that that's one of the beauties of Survivor is that you get to have people spend time together who would never, ever normally associate with each other or even cross paths. That is the beauty of Survivor. Survivor is all about the social game. It's all about, society. And having all these really different people get together and how they interact. And to have someone like Keith, you would think would be very bigoted, perhaps because that's the stereotype, was not. He was great, and they got along so well. And I loved that. That's the beauty of this game.
Yeah.
Does Josh have a boyfriend on the show? Is there some other... Does he have a partner?
Yes. It's Josh and Reed.
Yeah.
Yo.
They're a couple, yeah.
What's Reed? I've barely seen any of this Reed character.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He hasn't. He's in people's predictions to win, and he hasn't really done anything.
No.
This whole Keith Josh thing reminds me of good old season 1 with Rudy and Richard. Rudy, right. the ex-Marine, who made some comment about how he liked Richard, but he wouldn't. What's the quote? He likes him, but he's not going to be his lover or something. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I don't remember.
Something like that. It was a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then at the immunity challenge, Hunahpu won their 3rd in a row. Are they just going to keep winning and kicking out this other tribe one by one?
I think I'm predicting them to lose this week. I think surely they've got to lose at some point. That's not always been the case in Survivor, though.
Right.
Yeah, because it looks like once you're on a roll, you're on a roll. But Coyopa did win the reward challenge, so they are actually capable of winning. It's just that once you get into that kind of spiral of that death spiral of losing, it seems in the last few seasons that that's how it goes. So I'm actually really hoping Coyopa can pull one out and win an immunity because I'm sick and tired of seeing him at Tribal. I want to see the sparks fly at Hunahpu and see who's going to go and let's see these alliances forming. That's what we're waiting for.
And that's why we haven't seen as much of Reed, and we haven't seen as much of Kelly, and we haven't seen as much of a lot of people on that tribe, is because they haven't been going to tribal council, so they've had to focus on the other tribe. And I think that the voting out John Rocker is, even though he didn't have a great track record with the challenges, he's a pretty big, strong guy that could have helped them on a few challenges. So they've sort of weakened themselves a bit too by voting him out.
Mm-hmm. And the whole John Rocker, eliminating him thing, it's not the smartest move for people on that tribe for another reason too. And if there is a bigger threat than you, physically or mentally or whatever, you want to keep them in the game so that your own name is not is not voted down at tribal council. So if I was one of those people, I would be like, I hate this guy. I hate John Rocker more than anything, but he's a bigger threat than me, and people are going to be going for him before they go for me. So with that aspect of it, I think they should have kept him in at least another week or so.
But I don't think so, John. I don't think so, because otherwise our pick Baylor would have gotten voted out.
I know. I was going to say at the expense of Baylor. I don't know.
Yeah.
Me and Matt are both predicting Baylor to win, and for the second week in a row now, she was almost voted out, or so close to being voted out.
Yeah.
So Rob, who are you predicting to win?
I think, even though I couldn't remember his name 5 minutes ago, I'm really impressed with Josh, and he seems that he's just so liked. And I know that doesn't always get you far, but at the moment he's got the right people around him. Even though he's in the wrong tribe, he'll get to the merge hopefully, and then he will continue to pull some strings. He's doing it very subtly, and I think that he, in my mind, is the most likely to make it to the final tribal council, and then from that point he's very liked, and he does very well in challenges, and yeah, so it's very early in the game. I think it's almost absurd to predict who's going to win at this point, but obviously we're doing it anyway for fun. I think Josh, we've seen so much of him at the moment. Reed is an unknown quantity.
Right.
So at the moment, we're Josh.
And we're also predicting for money. The winner of all this gets $100, and Amazon gets certificate too. So it's not just for fun.
Not just for fun, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, and I think with I was a bit critical of Josh last week, some of his moves, and I stand by the mistakes he made, but I was very impressed with him this week. I think he's in a really good position, Josh. I think that's not a bad prediction at all. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this is what's a little surprising to me. I'm looking at the racetrack odds that we're gathering here at Gold Derby. The number one person that people think will win is Kelly Wentworth.
Yeah.
Second place is Josh. Third place is my girl Baylor, and she's actually tied for third place with Jeremy. So what's this Kelly prediction? Why do people think she's going to win all of a sudden?
Yeah, that's puzzling. I don't know.
She hasn't done anything wrong yet, but she hasn't done anything yet. So,
no, she's done nothing.
Right.
Yeah, I think we would have seen a little bit more of her if she was going to win. I don't like overreading into the edit, but has she even had a confessional yet? Maybe in the first episode?
Maybe, yeah. It does come down to what you said earlier, that since her tribe hasn't lost, that's why we're really not getting to know her or some of these other people on her tribe.
Yeah, and admittedly, when they had that sumo challenge the week before, even though she lost the first time around, the second time around, it was one of the best moments of that episode when she won, and then her dad was really proud of her. And, they've got that, don't they have that like background where they have been a bit estranged?
Yeah.
Maybe people are projecting onto her because she's not controversial yet, and she's pretty, and she's got this really interesting story, and she also did quite well in that challenge, and then that's all. I mean, that is it. There's nothing else that I can think of about her at the moment.
She shouldn't be in the number one spot.
No.
There's no way she should be in the number one spot. We don't even know. She's in Jeremy's alliance, and that's all we know. We don't even know.
That's it.
Yeah.
I don't even remember Jeremy's alliance. It's been so long since they talked about it on that site.
That's right.
It's Kelly, Missy, Jeremy, and...
Is Keith in that because of the firefighter bond?
He got Keith in on it.
Right.
Is that it? Is it just those? I think it might be just those four. I think I got it written down here. Yeah, and Natalie, the other twin.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kelly, Natalie, Missy, Keith, and Jeremy. So maybe they just think she's the least polarizing of the people in that alliance.
Maybe. Right.
So who do you guys think will go home? I think it might be Drew, even though he's another physical threat. He's just not really well liked amongst his tribe mates. And it seems that's how they're voting this year. They're voting, if I don't like you, you're gone.
Yeah, and from the edit of the next episode, I mean, wasn't he being painted to be a bit of a pain in the ass? So I think that's my recollection. So he's definitely on the chopping block, and I think Baylor has to remain up the top because she's almost there every time.
Oh, Baylor!
Poor old Baylor.
Dale's in trouble now though, because he was the only person that wasn't in on that John Rocker plan.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the one at the immunity challenge who was screaming at Natalie like, I don't care what he's done. He's part of our alliance. We're going to stick with him. And then he gets voted out.
Yeah, he's going to have
such a good bloke.
Yeah, I think Dale's a bad week. I think it's a good week for Josh, a bad week for Dale on Survivor. And yeah, I think if Hunapu go to Tribal Council for the first time, I think Drew is in trouble. I agree. I think he's my pick to go as well because I think he's they don't like him, and they can afford, like, I feel like they'll feel like we're strong without him because they've got such a buffer. They've got such a numbers lead. Like, it's not like, you know, they'll be panicking. Although I'd say Julie's in trouble as well, just because.
Me too.
Yeah. They're sort of the. Yeah, I would say that we're looking at Dale, maybe Baylor, Drew, or Julie going home next week.
Okay. Yeah, I think Julie's in trouble.
Yeah.
Julie did not. She didn't come across well last episode. You know, with all the rocker shocker controversy, she was really just irritating the crap out of me, and probably her tribe mates, because she was crying and carrying on, and going off to her on her own, and that's not good. You can't do that. That puts a target on your back. And if Hunapu end up going to tribal, and fingers crossed they do, because I really want to see some fireworks over at their camp. I think it's, apart from Drew, who is looking like to be someone they don't like, and Matt's totally onto it, someone they can let loose and still, or cut loose and still survive as a dominant tribe. But if they really just want to get rid of someone they don't particularly like and who isn't really going to be much help to them, then Julie might be it. Although, in her defense, don't they do, from the last Blood versus Water game that we saw, don't they sometimes like to keep contestants on who don't have a loved one on the other side, because it helps, I suppose, the mix when it comes to the merge?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think it was a good week for Julie, in the sense that John Rocker got voted out, and Natalie and Jeremy won't want to take out, like, they won't be screwing John Rocker by voting out his girlfriend. Like, it's not like, oh man, John Rocker, we're going to teach you a lesson, your girlfriend's gone. Like, it seemed like they were pretty high on, like, going, oh, he thinks he's in control over there, but we can, you know, his girlfriend's fate's in our hands. Don't think it means they're going to like Julie now, but they don't have that incentive to really, like, annoy John Rocker. Like, they might feel like he's paid the price for his sins by being voted out. You know, at the same time, I agree. She didn't have a great. What she did wasn't great, but it sort of worked out, I think, well for her.
Yeah, and I don't think Julie's target is on her back. I think her target, just two of them on the front.
They're on her front. Yeah, I think you're right. And someone would like to pop those. I mean, I'm not sure, but.
Hey, if there's a challenge where you have to just float in a lake, she could win.
Then they'll dominate. They will. That tribe will dominate. Yeah.
I wonder if the producers have lined up the challenge they had in One World, where they just, like, oil up a tarp and get the contestants to slide along the tarp. And that they're going, oh, we need to get this in before Julie gets voted out.
That's shameless. Completely shameless.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've got my fingers crossed. I want to see some more combat challenges. I always say this, but I love it when they just go at it. It's blood, sweat, and tears. I love that. That's what I watch Survivor for.
And does it seem like every challenge for the past couple of years, every challenge is like a physical thing that ends with a puzzle?
Yeah.
Why does it always have to end with a puzzle? Why can't it just be physical? I guess the
Yeah.
was physical, but
it's they might try away from the physical stuff though, Rob, because they don't want, like, Baylor to get, like, knocked out by her mum, like, or like Baylor's mum to kill her. Like.
Oh, I loved that, and I love the tears and then the guilt on her face, and you know, if anybody who has children or anyone even who has parents, you know that would just be the most horrible thing to have to deal with.
Yeah.
Again, the psychology of this show, it's so advanced. It's really just so entertaining to watch.
I loved Baylor's "I'm okay," which was clearly which was clearly her saying, "I'm not okay." Like,
I'm really not
I'm
okay,
Mum. Because like,
really,
as you say, if you have kids, or if you have, like, I have younger sisters, and like you can definitely, like, read between the lines there.
So good.
Yeah.
All right. So should we just say goodbye this week and come back next week for the next episode?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's hope for more of the same, because so far this season has been brilliant. So more of the same.
More drama, more family drama and tears.
We want to see it all.
Yes.